The massive hall filled with students from across the galaxy. Purple lights glowed from the ceiling, making everything look strange and beautiful. Sat in her assigned seat, feeling very small. Around her were creatures she had only seen in videos. Some had crystals growing from their bodies. Others floated in the air without any visible support. A few looked like walking plants. She was the only human in a room of 300 students. The instructor appeared at the front of the hall. Instructor looked like a giant piece of living glass, with rainbow colors dancing inside their body. When they spoke, their voice sounded like wind chimes. "Welcome to Advanced Studies," announced. "This class has a warning. Many students faint during lectures. The material we study is extremely dangerous." Several students made worried sounds. One creature that looked like a floating jellyfish changed from blue to pale white. Touched a control panel. A huge image appeared above them showing a planet. It spun slowly, covered in green and blue, with white swirls that recognized as storm clouds. "Today we begin with Class 12. These are the most dangerous planets in known space. Only 4 exist in our galaxy. These worlds have certain features that make them almost impossible for life to survive." Raised her hand. Stopped speaking, their glass body flickered with surprise. "Yes, Cadet Lee." "Which planet is that?" asked politely. "I have not yet. I am describing general features of all Class 12 worlds." Oh lowered her hand. Then she raised it again. "Sorry, but you are describing my childhood." Every student in the hall turned to look at her. The floating jellyfish creature made a sound like a balloon losing air. Another student, who looked like a collection of rocks held together by blue energy, actually fell apart and had to pull themselves back together. Stared at her. "Please explain." Checked her notes. "You said these planets have oxygen levels above 20% in the air. They have wild temperature changes. Radiation from the sun reaches the surface. Gravity is very strong. Giant animals live there. The ground moves and shakes from underground activity." She looked up. "That is just Earth. That is my home." Made a sound like breaking glass. "You are saying humans evolved on a Class 12. Is that unusual?" The instructor did not answer. Instead, they pulled up student file on their screen. Their glass body started flickering faster as they read. "Your application did not list your planet's classification." "The form only asked for my species," said. "I did not know the planet classification mattered." A student near the front raised a long, thin tentacle. "Instructor, there must be a mistake. Nothing intelligent can evolve on a Class 12 world. The survival rate is too low." Looked at, then at the file, then back at. Apparently something did. The lecture continued, but now everything was different. Every time described a dangerous condition, found herself nodding. When they mentioned giant predators, she thought of the bear that had wandered into her town when she was 10. When they talked about ground instability, she remembered the earthquake drills at school. When they discussed disease, she thought about getting the flu every winter. Most Class 12 worlds have weather patterns that can kill exposed organisms in minutes, explained. Raised her hand again. "We call those storms. Sometimes there are warnings on the news." A student near her made a choking sound. "The organisms on these worlds must constantly fight infections," continued. "Their immune systems are under permanent attack." "Does not everyone get sick sometimes?" asked. His glass body went completely clear like ice. They did not answer for a long moment. "Most species use photosynthesis or chemical processes for energy. We do not need to consume other living things." "Oh," said quietly, "we have to eat, plants or animals or both." Half the class was now staring at her like she was a monster from a nightmare. When the lecture ended, gathered her things slowly. She noticed other students were keeping their distance from her. In the hallway outside, she tried to smile at a passing student, but they quickly moved to the other side of the corridor. A student approached her carefully. They looked like a large insect with delicate antennae and multiple legs. "Excuse me," they said. Their voice was very soft. "My name is Bora. I wanted to ask, is it true your species consumes other organisms for energy?" "Yes," said. "How else do people eat?" Bora's antennae drooped. "Most of us use photosynthesis. We absorb energy from light. Some species process chemicals from their environment, but eating other living things." They seemed unable to finish the sentence. "I had a salad for lunch," offered. "Is that better?" Bora looked confused. "What is a salad?" "Vegetables, plants, leaves and things." "You ate a plant." Bora's antennae stood straight up. "A living organism." "Well, it was not alive when I ate it," said. "We pick vegetables first." Bora made a small squeaking sound and hurried away down the hall. Stood alone, holding her books. She had been so excited to attend the Galactic Academy. She had studied for years to pass the entrance exams. She had said goodbye to her family, traveled across space, and arrived full of hope and curiosity. Now she was standing in an empty hallway, and everyone was afraid of her. She walked back to her dormitory slowly. The academy was beautiful, with architecture from 100 different worlds. Bridges connected buildings through open air. Gardens grew plants she had never seen before, in colors that did not exist on Earth. Water flowed upward in some fountains, defying gravity through technology she did not understand. But it all felt very lonely. In her room, sat on her bed and pulled out her communication device. She wanted to call home, to hear her mother's voice, to tell her father about the strange day. But Earth was so far away now. Messages took hours to travel the distance. A conversation was impossible. She looked at her class schedule for tomorrow. More studies, then galactic biology, then the study of different species and their cultures. Wondered if she had made a terrible mistake. Maybe humans were not ready for the galaxy. Maybe she should go home. Then she remembered something her grandmother had told her before she left Earth. "Our ancestors survived ice ages and droughts," her grandmother had said. "They survived predators and diseases and disasters. You have that same strength in you. Do not waste it by giving up when things get hard." Set down the communication device. She picked up her textbook and began reading the next chapter. If Earth was truly as dangerous as these aliens believed, then she had already survived the hardest test. Everything else was just learning to help others understand. She read until late into the night, taking notes in her careful handwriting. Outside her window, alien stars shone in unfamiliar patterns. Tomorrow would be another difficult day. There would be more stares, more fear, more misunderstanding. But was human. And humans, she was learning, were very good at surviving difficult things. 3 weeks passed at the academy, attended her classes, took her notes, and tried to ignore the whispers that followed her everywhere. Most students still kept their distance, but a few had started to be friendly. Bora now sat near her in class, though they still looked nervous whenever ate lunch. Today was different. Today was the first practical exercise. The class gathered in a massive dome structure. Instructors stood at the center, their glass body reflecting light in all directions. "Today you will experience a Class 9 simulation. This is 3 levels safer than a Class 12 world. Your task is simple: survive for 1 standard hour." Students murmured nervously. Several were already checking their environmental suits, making sure all the systems were working. The dome shimmered. The comfortable academy environment disappeared. Suddenly they were standing on a rocky landscape under a dim red sun. Heat pressed down on them like a heavy blanket. Glanced at the environmental readout on her suit. 45 degrees Celsius. Oxygen at 18%. Gravity at 1 standard G. She felt hot. Without thinking, she unzipped her environmental suit jacket and tied it around her waist. Her uniform underneath was much more comfortable. Cadet Lee's voice was sharp. "What are you doing?" "It is warm," explained. This feels like summer at home." A student named, who looked like a collection of glowing crystals, suddenly collapsed. Their cooling system had been overwhelmed. Small flying robots rushed over to help them. "Floated closer, too. Perhaps you should keep your protective suit on." "If you think it is best," said, though she did not understand why. She was not even sweating yet. The simulation began. Noticed immediately that most students were having trouble moving. They walked slowly, like each step was difficult. Some could not walk at all. The students from low-gravity worlds had activated special devices to help them stand. Walked normally. She even hopped over a small rock, just to avoid stepping on what looked like an interesting crystal formation. Bora struggled nearby, their legs moving in slow motion. "How are you doing that?" they gasped. "Doing what?" "Moving like the gravity is not crushing you." Looked around and realized Bora was right. Most students were barely standing. "This is normal gravity for Earth," she said. "I grew up in this." "This is your normal." Another student, who looked like a floating cloud of gas, sounded horrified. The hour continued. Students kept dropping out of the simulation. Some were overwhelmed by heat. Others could not handle the gravity. A few panicked when the simulation played sounds of distant predators. By 40 minutes, only 15 students were still active. Was collecting samples from a simulated water source, humming a song from home. At 53 minutes, something changed. The ground shook. Students screamed. A creature appeared on top of a nearby hill. It was massive, covered in scales, with teeth as long as arms and claws that gouged the rock beneath it. Students who were still in the simulation immediately activated their emergency teleport devices. They vanished in flashes of light, returning to the safe observation area. Looked up from her sample collection. Her face lit up with interest. "Oh, is that based on Allosaurus? We have fossils of something very similar on Earth." The creature roared and charged down the hill. Stepped to the side casually, still holding her sample container. The creature passed through her, just a hologram, not real, but her calm movement shocked everyone watching. Appeared next to her in the safety observation area. "You had predators like that on Earth." "Bigger ones, actually," said, "but they died out millions of years ago. Now we mostly worry about smaller things. Crocodiles can be dangerous. Sharks. Hippopotamuses kill many people. Oh, and mosquitoes kill the most humans every year." His entire body turned dark like smoke. "What is a mosquito?" "A tiny insect that drinks blood. They spread diseases." The instructor made a sound like shattering glass. "Your world has insects that drink blood and spread diseases." "Yes, also we have parasitic worms that live inside people, and plants that are poisonous to touch, and animals with venom in their teeth or tails or spines." Paused, noticing that was vibrating. "Are you okay?" "I need to sit down." "You do not have a body that sits." "I need to sit down anyway." That evening, returned to her dormitory room and found someone had painted words on her door in glowing paint. DATHWORLDERGO home. She stared at the words for a long time. Then she went inside, got cleaning supplies, and started scrubbing. The paint was designed to glow for days, but was patient. She worked until her arms were tired and the words were almost invisible. A knock on her door made her look up. Bora stood in the hallway looking anxious. Their antennae were drooping. "I saw what someone did," Bora said quietly. "I wanted to apologize." "You did not do it," said. "You do not need to apologize." "Still, it is wrong." Bora hesitated, then entered the room. "Can I help you clean?" They worked together in silence for a while. Finally, Bora spoke again. "Do you know why everyone is afraid of you?" "Not really," admitted. "I'm just trying to attend class and learn." "You do not understand what you are." Bora's voice was gentle. "Most species evolved on safe worlds. Our greatest danger was not having enough food or maybe bad weather. but you evolved on a planet that was actively trying to kill you every single day. The weather could kill you, the animals could kill you, the plants could kill you, even your own star was dangerous. We have an ozone layer that blocks most of the radiation, said. You need an ozone layer, Bora's antennae waved frantically. Do you understand how terrifying that is? Most species never had to worry about radiation from their sun. You needed to evolve special protection just to stand outside safely. Sat down on her bed, really thinking about this for the first time. So humans are scary because we are hard to kill. You are scary because your normal life is our nightmare, Bora said. The simulation today, that was supposed to be very difficult. You acted like it was a pleasant walk. You were humming. It reminded me of hiking with my family, said softly. Exactly. Bora settled onto the floor, their many legs folding neatly. You do not even realize how strong you are, and that makes you even more frightening. They sat together quietly. Finally said, I just wanted to make friends and learn about the galaxy. I did not want to scare anyone. I know, Bora said, and I think maybe that is why I am not afraid anymore. You could be dangerous, but you choose to be kind instead. Smiled, want to study together for the next exam. Only if you promise not to tell me about any more Earth creatures. Deal. They studied until late, carefully avoiding any stories about home that might disturb her new friend. Outside, the alien stars shone bright and cold, but inside her small room, finally felt a little less alone. The incident happened during week 7. Had been using the Academy's gravity recreation facility during quiet hours, when most students were sleeping. She liked running there because she could set the gravity to Earth normal and actually exercise properly. The gravity well was a huge chamber where students could adjust the local gravity for sports and training. Had been running laps, enjoying the feeling of her normal weight, when something went wrong. The gravity suddenly increased, stumbled and fell to her knees. It felt like someone had stacked 3 versions of herself on top of her body. Every movement was incredibly difficult. Her vision started to go dark around the edges. She could not stand up. Her legs would not support the weight, but she could move. Slowly, painfully, started crawling toward the emergency control panel 15 meters away. Each movement hurt terribly. Her bones felt like they were bending. Her muscles screamed in pain, but they did not break. She kept moving, one arm forward then the other, dragging herself across the floor. Behind her, the door opened. Another human cadet stepped through. He saw struggling on the floor and understood immediately. He ran to the gravity controls and brought the level back to normal. Collapsed completely, gasping for air. Her heart was beating so fast she could hear it in her ears. What happened? Knelt beside her, checking her pulse and breathing. He was studying medicine at the academy and knew what to look for. Equipment malfunction, managed to say. Gravity increased. To what level? 3 times normal. His eyes went wide. For how long? Maybe 90 seconds. I was crawling to the control panel. You were crawling. At 3G, he pulled out a medical scanner and ran it over her body. Then he ran it again as if the first reading was wrong. You should be dead. I feel like I should be dead, she admitted. Everything hurt. You have torn muscles. Your bones have tiny fractures. Your heart is in shock. He was already preparing medical treatments. But you are alive. You stayed conscious. You moved while carrying 3 times your body weight. I was scared, said. The adrenaline helped. That is exactly it, said. Humans have an emergency system. When we are in danger, our bodies release chemicals that let us do incredible things. We can ignore pain, move faster, lift heavier weights. Most species do not have this. Really? Really? When most species face danger, their bodies shut down to save energy. But humans, we fight through it. The medical bay doors burst open. Instructor rushed in, their glass body flashing with alarm. I received an emergency alert. Oh, thank the cosmos you are alive. I am fine, said, which was not exactly true but close enough. His body went very still. The malfunction was not an accident. Someone deliberately changed the gravity controls. The room became silent. Someone tried to kill me, asked quietly. We believe they wanted to trap you in the room at low gravity, said. They did not expect you to survive high gravity long enough to escape. His expression became cold and hard. Who did it? We are investigating, but this creates a serious problem. Colors shifted uncomfortably. The Academy Council is worried about human students. There have been 3 incidents targeting humans this semester. They are considering special measures. You want to expel us? Asked. No, protection. Separate facilities. Possibly moving all human students to a different campus, away from other species. Segregation, said flatly. Safety, corrected. The galaxy is not ready for humans, this proves it. Stood up even though her legs were shaking, steadied her. With respect, instructor, I did not survive everything Earth could throw at me just to hide from fear. If someone has a problem with humans, they can face me directly. You were nearly killed. Nearly, interrupted. But not actually, because humans are built to survive difficult things. Our ancestors did not become the dominant species on Earth by running away. We survived by being too stubborn to quit. His body flickered with something that might have been respect. The Council will not accept that answer. Then the Council can learn what humans are really good at, said. Which is? Smiled, and there was steel in it. Adapting. We have been doing it for millions of years. We can keep doing it here. Was quiet for a moment. Then they said, I will tell them you said that, but I cannot promise it will change their minds. That is okay, said. I am used to being underestimated. It usually works out well for me. After left helped back to her room. You know you are crazy, right? He said, but he was smiling. Probably, agreed. But someone has to show them that humans are not just scary, we are also worth knowing. And if they do not want to learn, then we teach them anyway, said. That is what humans do best. The Galactic Xenobiology Symposium was the most important event of the Academy year. Students from across the galaxy presented their research to important leaders and scientists. This year's theme was survival adaptations in extreme environments. Stood backstage with the 3 other human students at the Academy. And Minyu had all helped her prepare the presentation after news of the Gravity Well incident spread through the school. They are going to destroy us, whispered, peeking through the curtain at the audience. Important ambassadors were there. Scientists from a dozen different species filled the seats. Let them try, Minyu said calmly. He was the oldest of the group, studying advanced biology, and nothing seemed to worry him. Handed a bottle of water. Are you ready? No, admitted, but I am doing it anyway. Their turn came. The 4 humans walked onto the stage. The audience became very quiet. Seeing 4 humans together was unusual enough to make many species uncomfortable. Step to the speaking podium. Honored guests, fellow students, today we present research on Class 12 adaptations, focusing on the human species. The holographic display activated. Earth appeared above them, spinning slowly. Storm systems covered parts of the surface. Volcanic chains glowed red. Lines showed where the continental plates met and ground against each other. Humans evolved on Terra, which we call Earth. It is classified as a Class 12, one of only 4 in known space. It has specific features that make survival very difficult. We know the classification, an ambassador interrupted. He was a tall being that looked like living metal. What we want to know is why humans are so durable. Nodded, that is exactly what we researched. Took over, showing molecular models. Humans have an immune system that can learn and adapt to new diseases. This is necessary on Earth, where viruses and bacteria evolve 300% faster than the galactic average. Minyu continued with skeleton diagrams. Our bones are reinforced with calcium compounds. This lets us survive impacts that would shatter most carbon-based life forms. Our muscles can temporarily increase their performance through a chemical flood we call adrenaline. Showed comparison charts. Most importantly, humans have backup systems for survival. We can survive major damage to organs, limbs, and even parts of our brain. Our bodies are built to keep working even when badly hurt. Why? Asked the science minister, a being that looked like organized crystals. What evolutionary pressure requires such excessive durability? Smiled. Everything on Earth tries to kill everything else. Our planet is not stable or safe. It is a competitive ecosystem where predation, disease, and environmental disasters are constant. Humans survived by becoming harder to kill than everything trying to kill us. She showed videos of humans doing remarkable things, running long distances in desert heat, swimming in freezing water, climbing steep mountains, diving deep underwater, recovering from injuries that looked fatal, living in environments from ice-covered lands to tropical forests. We call this persistence, said. It is what defines our species. We do not give up. We cannot afford to. The ambassador stood up. This is exactly why humans are dangerous. You are describing a species built for war. No, said firmly. We are describing a species built for survival. There is a difference. Is there? The ambassador gestured sharply. You have just shown that humans are made to endure, to overcome, to outlast any threat. How is the galaxy supposed to live alongside apex predators? Felt anger rise in her chest, but she kept her voice calm. By understanding that apex predator does not mean enemy. Yes, humans are durable. Yes, we adapted to hostile environments. But we also adapted for cooperation, for empathy, for building communities that survive together. She showed new images. Human history, carefully selected to show cooperation alongside conflict. Every human advancement came from working together. We survived Earth by helping each other. We reached space by sharing knowledge. We are here because humans believe in something beyond individual survival. And what is that? The ambassador asked coldly. That strength means protecting the weak, not exploiting them. That survival means lifting others up, not pushing them down. Met his eyes directly. You fear us because we are hard to kill. I am asking you to trust us because we understand how precious life is. Silence filled the auditorium. Finally, the science minister spoke. I have reviewed your research carefully. It is thorough, well documented, and absolutely terrifying. They paused. It is also the best survival study ever conducted. I recommend accepting this presentation and publishing it in the Galactic Xenobiology Journal. I support this, said a delegate. The ambassador remained standing, clearly angry, but he sat down without objecting. Released a breath she had been holding. The presentation ended. Students applauded, especially Bora, who had been arguing for weeks that humans should be included in study groups. Backstage, the four humans collapsed together in relief. We did it, said. We survived, corrected. Minyu grinned. For humans, that is the same thing. 3 months after the symposium, advanced studies looked completely different. Instructor had changed the entire course to focus on learning from species instead of just studying them. The class size had doubled as students signed up, their curiosity finally stronger than their fear. Found herself in a new role as a teaching assistant. Today, she was helping run a practical exercise on environmental adaptation. Remember, she told the assembled students, adaptation is not about being the strongest or fastest. It is about being flexible enough to survive when things change. The simulation activated. A Class 8 environment appeared around them, moderately challenging. Most students could handle it now with minimal help, had been gradually increasing the difficulty as the students gained confidence. Bora worked with a student named. The two species had very different abilities, but they complemented each other well. Another student group had formed between and humans, learning medical techniques that focused on recovery and resilience. It was not perfect. Some students still avoided the humans. The government had filed official protests against human attendance. There were still whispers in hallways and suspicious looks in the dining area. But things were better, much better. After class, met with instructor in their office. The instructor had been reviewing the semester results. "Your group has the highest simulation survival rate we have ever recorded," said, "and the highest cooperation scores between different species." "Humans are good teachers of survival," said. "We have had a lot of practice." It is more than that. Pulled up data comparisons. Students who work with humans show better stress responses. They make better emergency decisions. They become more adaptable. You are making the entire class stronger. "Maybe they were always this strong," suggested. "They just needed someone to believe in them." His colors shifted to something warm and gentle. "When you first arrived, I thought you were an impossible anomaly, a statistical error that somehow achieved intelligence. I was wrong." "Oh, you are not an anomaly. You are a preview of the future." Activated a star map showing Earth and dozens of highlighted worlds around it. Long-range surveys have found 17 more Class 11 and 12 worlds with signs of developing civilization. In 50,000 years, maybe sooner, the galaxy will be full of species. Stared at the map. "You are saying humans are just the first." "I am saying humans are teaching us how to welcome all the others." His body chimed softly, their version of a smile. "The galaxy was not ready for you, but because of you, maybe we will be ready for them." That evening, stood in the Academy's observation dome, watching stars move slowly overhead. Earth was too far away to see, just another point of light among billions. Joined her carrying 2 cups of what the cafeteria called coffee. It did not taste much like real coffee, but it was warm and comforting. "Thinking about home?" he asked. "Thinking about how far we have come." She took the cup. "A year ago I was terrified to leave Earth. Now I am terrified of failing out here." "We will not fail." "How can you be sure?" Smiled. "Because we are human. Failing would require giving up, and we are too stubborn for that." Laughed. The sound echoed in the empty dome. "Is that your scientific analysis?" "That is my human analysis, which is pretty reliable when it comes to not dying." Below them, the Academy spread across its asteroid station. Thousands of students from hundreds of worlds, all learning to exist together in a galaxy bigger and stranger than any of them had imagined. Somewhere in all that complexity, 4 humans were proving something important. That coming from a did not mean bringing death. That strength could build bridges instead of walls. That a species evolved to survive Earth's worst could help others survive the galaxy's challenges. Raised her cup. "To adaptation." "To persistence," answered. "To being too stubborn to quit," they said together. Outside, the stars burned cold and distant, caring nothing for the struggles of any species. But inside the Academy, something new was growing. The understanding that survival was not about dominating the hostile universe. It was about teaching each other to thrive despite it. And that thought was the most human thing of all, not the strength or the durability or the refusal to die. It was the willingness to use all that strength to help others survive too. She thought about her grandmother's words before she left Earth, about ancestors who survived impossible things, about the strength that came from refusing to give up. Her grandmother had been right, but she had left out one thing. That strength was not just for surviving, it was for building something better than mere survival. Looked at the alien stars and smiled. Tomorrow there would be more classes, more students learning to see humans as teachers instead of threats, more opportunities to prove that origins could mean something positive, more chances to show the galaxy that humans were not just hard to kill, they were worth keeping alive. And if that was not the most human philosophy possible, she did not know what was. The future was vast and uncertain, full of species that feared what they did not understand, but had survived Earth. She had survived the Academy's attempts to protect everyone from her. She had survived fear and isolation and someone actively trying to kill her. She could survive this too. They all could. Because that was what humans did. They survived, they adapted, they persisted. And they helped others do the same. That was enough. That was everything.